Well, taxi violence continues to be a concern, and the Gauteng Transport MEC is calling on taxi operators to stop violence against e-hailing drivers. People have been killed and cars damaged in recent years as taxi operators claim e-hailing cabs are stealing their customers. MEC Jacob Mamabolo has met with industry representatives in an effort to quell confrontations, and he joins us now to update us on how that meeting went. Mr. Mamabolo, thank you so much for your time. And that's exactly the question. How did your consultation and meetings go? What seems to be some of the grievances?
Firstly, good morning to you and to all the viewers, and happy Easter. Let me confirm that, yes, we had a very good meeting, a very fruitful, constructive meeting with, now we have completed, we started with the e-hailing sector. We have now met with the meter taxis, and in this last meeting with the meter taxis, we have actually agreed that firstly, the violence between the operators, particularly meter taxis and e-hailing, is not good for our province as the economic hub of the country. And one of the most profound decisions we have made is that we must bring the negotiations into a formal process, both with the e-hailing as industry and, of course, the meter taxis. And what is really exciting is that the parties have actually agreed that they are best and much more better when they sit around the table to resolve the issues, because in that way, it also brings great relief to the residents of Gauteng, who always have to, bear the brunt of these fights, protests on the road, the difficulty that it brings on the residents. So as the provincial government, we are really deeply delighted, and we must thank all the parties for embracing negotiation, peace, and appreciating that they are all operating in public transport, and their unity will serve best them. It will bring mutual benefits. And to that extent, we really want to thank and encourage the parties for that position.
So what resolutions came out of the meetings, just in terms of some of the grievances? We understand taxi operators accusing e-hailing service operators of stealing their customers. What resolutions came out there?
Well, as I'm saying that, one thing that came out is that the issues that are causing a problem, we can't resolve them overnight. For example, with the e-hailing, the whole issue of pricing, the tensions it brings because the drivers feel that they are operating at a loss, the issues of safety on the road. So all those issues, whilst they have been laid bare and discussed, but finality on those issues is yet to come. At this point, what we have, and that's what we are deeply appreciating, it's a breakthrough for us, that the parties have all agreed that bringing the matters to the table and consistently negotiating them is the best. But the actual final details of the agreement themselves is still a subject of ongoing discussions and consultations.
Mr. Mamabolo, we've also heard that, some, e-hailing drivers have fell victim to being robbed. Some have fell victim to their cars being burned. Some, unfortunately, have been even killed in the past years. As I mentioned, numerous cars being damaged because of these ongoing tows. How are you assuring, as a provincial government, that these victims do receive justice?
Yes, let me just emphasize that point, because it is indeed true that particularly the operators, they feel that the technological application or the app itself, which is the platform on which they operate, does not have sufficient security features, and that the service providers that have been brought in to support security have not put in adequate measures. And the other issue that is a big problem is the role of law enforcement, the coordination around that. Remember, the report on the Commission of Inquiry into Taxi Violence has actually indicated high levels of fragmentation, poor coordination between law enforcement to protect the public transport sector. So to that extent, we are looking at this report on taxi violence because its findings and recommendations apply to e-hailing to meter taxis. But as I said, at the end of it all, the e-hailing companies have a first and most important responsibility to build in adequate capabilities and systems to protect the users, and that is possible. The market has got all the solutions. We just think they must up the game, but we must also appeal to law enforcement agencies to have a dedicated focus on public transport, because at the end of it all, the people that are suffering are the residents of our province. So to that extent, we are happy that the commissioner in the province has come out publicly and has stated it in no uncertain terms that they will also, in line with the Commission's report, be scaling up their efforts to combat violence, crime, victimization in the public transport sector.
All right. Before I let you go, just on a different matter, I mean, we know that Easter is literally around the corner. People are traveling outside of, or rather, people are traveling from Gauteng to outside the province. How are preparations going on the roads to assure that no life is lost, that there's roadworthiness just in terms of those cars and, you know, taxis and public transport travel, including buses, but also assuring that everyone just sort of abides by the rule of law?
Whilst the national government has already launched in Northwest Province the Easter Road Safety Campaign, and including yesterday, today we as the province in Gauteng, we in the afternoon and going into the evening, we will be on the roads, and our plans, again, integrated law enforcement. That is the principle that we are preaching amongst our law enforcement. Remember, Metro Police, RTMC, National Traffic, and the traffic in the province. So all that capacity is going to be deployed on the major roads as we are the interconnecting point. But having said that, and you are going to see us also moving forward over the long weekend, even beyond that, we have got a big problem of poor road conditions, potholes, poor signage, poor visibility. But remember, the most important thing for this period is that the President of the Republic of South Africa, Mr. Cyril Ramaphosa, has made it very clear that people must strongly consider less movement. You are better, you are safe when you are where you are, because you stand the risk of fatalities on the road. Where you are going, you could spread COVID-19. Where you are going, you could be infected with COVID-19. So people are better where they are, and we are really, really appealing to them that the risk of to life, in both in terms of carnage on the road, in terms of COVID-19, please take the advice. And we know the culture of road usage depends on decision-making, particularly the discipline. And we know that most people still completely disrespect the rules of the road. So to that extent, you could be putting yourself at great risk. So the principle and the emphasis is we will be on the roads, but please play your part by staying where you are. If you have to move, please comply with protocols for COVID-19, comply with road safety regulations.
All right, we'll leave it there, but thank you so much for your time. Gauteng MEC for Transport, Jacob Mamabolo.